the greatest transfer of wealth is happening right now. And if the Black community doesn't do something, we will miss out on all of it. We are set to hit, I think, $0 in like 2050 in terms of Black people as a whole of our net worth.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ashford. And as always, got the big homie KB, Mr. Kevin Bergantz. What up, bro?
What up, family? I got my mic. What's up? We back. Hey. I got a whole setup. You see my background is back. I'm ready. I'm excited. You can hear me. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna shut this whole. I'm gonna quit. Like, I'm quitting today. I'm done. Man, Savaun, guest, fantastic. Sorry, Savaun Esquire.
Yes.
I don't want to get in trouble. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm glad. Look, last episode, Kev was in an alternative location and he forgot his mic, so he had to. He had to do the episode with some earbuds, and it just wasn't.
It wasn't working.
It wasn't Chris. It wasn't Chris.
Got it. I don't.
But we here, anyways. How do you introduce yourself? I mean, do you actually tell people just like, "Hey, I'm an attorney," or do you pull that card out once? You know what I'm saying?
I try not to tell people I'm an attorney.
Why not?
Just let interactions go how they go.
Well, I wonder, but like, so I don't know nothing about nothing. You know what? Hold on. Let's backtrack.
Don't say that.
Please introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Savaun. I am an attorney, since that's the topic for tonight. I'm an estate planning attorney, and I also practice in the area of Social Security disability law. I reside in North Carolina with my husband and 4 children, and I also teach part-time.
You teach?
Yes, at the university level at North Carolina Central University and at North Carolina A&T University.
All right.
What you teaching?
Hey.
In criminal justice.
Okay. So we didn't talk about this beforehand, but like one of the requirements is for you to share this podcast with your class. So okay. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't. But okay, so you practice wills, trusts, things like that.
Yeah.
My first question, because I got a lot of questions, and I'm gonna try to let Kev get in here. Because Kev, if you don't get in there, I swear I'm gonna just fire these questions. No, I'm just kidding. How did you get into that field? Because I know there's so many different fields, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go to law school and things like that. And I got friends that became non-profit attorneys, and then it was like, yo, that was a mistake because I got the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people think about lawyers, they be like, oh, you rolling in the dough.
No.
I'll say this: the legal profession, the legal education gives you an opportunity to excel in almost any profession. So it doesn't hurt to have a legal background, whether you're practicing or you're not practicing. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I won't say unfortunately, but a lot of people who pursue law are actually people who I know that pursue law are people who have big hearts and who are compassionate. And those are the areas of law that don't pay well. I mean, a lot of the community service-oriented laws, public defenders, are making $30,000, $40,000 a year. And, they are, and there's nothing wrong with those salaries. But when you have that kind of student loan debt and an expectation of having a higher income, that's where a lot of the frustration comes into play, because those areas are not funded as well as big law or, some other legal opportunity. So I think that's where the misconception comes from. Now, the reality is, though, the earning potential is still there and it's always there. So it's just a matter of if that person wants to tap into it or not. And some people are so beat down and weary by the legal profession that they may not ever have the opportunity to tap into the earning potential that they might be able to experience.
I'm like, because I need you to expound on that, because one, you said people, and this, look, I'm hood sometimes. Like you said, people that you know go into it are compassionate and things like that. And then you said public defenders. And I'm like, I know some public defenders.
Okay.
And I'm just like, that's not typically the rap that they get, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So I'm like, huh? And I know that's not your expertise. So I'm just wondering how you correlate the two, but you would have more of an idea because you are in the field, and I just know dudes that's represented by public defenders, and that's a whole different other story. So
Yes, actually, public defenders get a bad rap. In most public defenders' office, you will find some of the most compassionate people in the field. But like social workers, a lot of them are overworked. They might be understaffed, and they do a job that is oftentimes not appreciated. They do a job where a client. Now you have people who are not performing at their highest level in any profession.
Yeah.
So that's a given. But a lot of the public defenders that I know work really hard for their clients, and they're doing the best that they can in the constraints of the profession. And people love saying, my public defender made me do this, and my public defender made me settle, or whatever the case is. And then when you look at the facts of the circumstance, and when you just dig a little deeper, you see
you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always, you know what I'm saying, your truth, my truth, and then there's the truth, whatever the saying is. I don't know. I'm not good at sayings, but you know what I mean? Like, there's always three sides to the story, and I'm like 100% sure like that's the case, because I'm gonna just keep it real. Like, I really don't believe anybody. So like,
well, I'm coming from a place where I can speak. I actually have a lot of knowledge about this because I'm married to a former public defender who was
former. Why'd he stop?
He got another opportunity. He still does public interest law, but he actually still does indigent defense, which means represent people who are low income. He just does it in a different capacity.
That's good.
I'm so glad she explained that, because bruh, I got a marketing degree.
Defenders are indigent. They work in the field of indigent defense. People who don't have the means, typically vulnerable populations. So I know that in his time there, he lost sleep over trials. He worked very hard. He got cursed out by clients regularly on a day. He had people ask him, "Are you every real attorney?" But the reality is with public defenders is you have people, and again, given there's bad apples, but you have people who work in the courthouse every day, right? They know the temperament of prosecutors very well. They know the temperament of judges very well because they work in the courthouse every day. And a lot of people, and again, I'm speaking very generally, think, oh, I'm going to hire an outside attorney because I'm paying for it. So there's this thought that I'm paying for something, so it's worth more. And these people don't work in that courthouse every day. They don't know that judge as well as the public defender does. They don't know that prosecutor as well as that public defender does. That attorney may not even practice in that county as frequently or in that area. So I think that if you're going to hire an attorney for a criminal case, you should at least talk to 3 attorneys, because all of them may provide great quality service, but this is also very personal and traumatic time for a lot of people. So who you vibe with also matters. And private attorneys are selling a service, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in selling a service, they may create expectations that are not reasonable. And my husband can attest, people say, I'm going to hire a private attorney because I don't like what you're saying. And they end up with the exact same outcome that he said was likely to happen.
And they done lost 10 grand at least.
So I think it depends. You got to talk to your public defender, you interview private attorneys, and then you really want to see, are they really telling me different outcomes? Are they going to work for my case? And is this a person I vibe with?
Kev, you want to jump in here? Because I'm going to switch. Because I'm going to go to where we're going.
No, I really like the information that she gave, because I think oftentimes, even when I started my nonprofit and I started digging into law, I realized how much our schools fail us as far as teaching us law. Like, there's tons of Texas laws that you come across and you're like, I didn't even know that was a law. And I think that your statement earlier, Savaun, of legal education, and I think that's just something that just for me, because I work with young people and I work with teens who are high needs and in situations, if they even know the law, would help them stay out of it. Because a lot of kids, they're just getting in trouble because they don't know, right? But if they knew the ramifications, if they really understood like what was to follow behind those things, it would deter a lot of kids away from it. And so for me, I just wanted a quick example. Like, have you known somebody who was just learning law and it helped them in a different field of a career? Have you seen that at any point?
Yeah, a lot of lawyers abandon the legal field and become bakers, right? So they know how to sell. I'm using that example. They pursue some creative outlet or opportunity. So they know how to set up their business. If they don't know, they can readily find it out. They have a lot of people in their network who they can contact for support, for CPA, for taxes, compliance issues. So having the background helps you navigate systems easier than it would a layperson. A layperson can also, but they might spend additional time and energy trying to
So it's the network and the resources that excel their process a little bit faster.
Yeah. So being an attorney simply means I know how to find out the answer. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Maybe simply is the wrong word. I don't know all of the answers. I don't know all the laws, but I know how to find it very quickly and to apply it very quickly. That's it's taught me to think very critically about a situation, a scenario, and find you the answer. Now, depending on how much experience you have in the particular subject matter, you may know the answer right off the top. But if I don't, I can find out the answer very quickly. So when you asked me earlier, do I tell people I'm an attorney outside of like a social media setting or if I'm meeting? No, because I don't want to hear all these random scenarios at my son's basketball game. I don't
say, Savaun, listen, what had happened was, so what you think?
I don't want to know about it. I don't want you to pick my brain. I'm not in that mode.
Savaun, my wife over here, what you're not gonna do. But listen, I'm petty, so I'm gonna bring it back up. You ain't answer my question.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just circling back because when we started this originally, because then we took a left because it was some good information, like super dope. But I wanted to know, like, how did you get into the wills in the trust?
Okay, area? Yes.
Because that's like super specific. Like when I think about wills and trust, and we're gonna get into this, and I'm saying this on purpose, I think about old white people.
Yeah. So
like, let's just keep it a buck. And our show is predominantly our culture. So we're gonna talk about some wills and trusts because everybody, I'm gonna get some generational wealth. I'm gonna do this and whoop to whoop. So have you talked to Savaun? Because you don't, right?
So there is no generational wealth without an estate plan. I'll start there. I got into estate planning. I've been practicing now. Is this my 12th year? This might be my 12th year. I've been practicing law for 12 years. And I was ready to walk away from the profession. I was one of those attorneys.
Really?
Yes. I am part of the Great Resignation. I was a federal attorney prior to doing estate planning.
Oh, so wow. Sounds miserable.
It was. So I had all 4 of my children at home during the pandemic. I'm working under very tight, and it depends on what agency you work for. Some federal agencies are amazing. My particular agency and my particular role was not so amazing. So I had my 4 children at home. I had all of these quotas that I had to fulfill on a daily basis. I had all these managements. It was like there's no pandemic going on. And I was trying to navigate all of my responsibilities as an employee, as a mother, as a wife, as a person who wanted to stay sane. And I was just like, you know what? I don't even know if I just want to do law anymore. Like, I wanted to go to law school to make a difference and to help people in my community. And here I am behind a desk doing work that's very transactional. Like, even though, so I worked in disability. I worked for Social Security Administration. So even though what I was doing was helpful to the people who were waiting the outcome of their decisions, it was very transactional. It was very paperwork driven. It was very lonely and stressful. And I did a fast. And in that fast,
Praise God.
I fasted for, I don't remember, the month of January or something like that. And in that fast, I had applied for other opportunities that I thought was my dream opportunity. And it was like right there, right? I went through 3 or 4 rigorous interviews with panels and all these things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm killing it. This is it. This is it. This is what I fasted for. You know, this is the job that I wanted. It's here. And then in the fast, God told me, oh, you didn't get that job. And I was like, oh no, those are the secrets. You know, I rebuked that. I'm going to think positively about this. Like, why would my mind tell me these terrible things? And I'm not a person who walks around saying, God told me this, God told me that.
Yeah.
Probably less than 3 incidents that I can recall where I really heard him say something. He was like, I'm just letting you know now, so you're not a crying mess. You can get that job. So they told you they would let you know on Friday. You're not going to hear anything on Friday. I'm just paraphrasing. You didn't get it, so you might as well stop holding your breath about it. You didn't get it.
Yeah.
Well.
And so
he has spoken.
I wrestled with that because sometimes we think, am I speaking negatively? You know, am I just self-doubt and imposter syndrome? But it was during the fast. And then Friday came, nothing. I didn't hear anything. They didn't call. They didn't say anything. They said they were definitely going to make a decision that Friday. So I was like, man. And so then the next week, and I said about 3 instances where I heard from God. So this is number 2. So both instances were related to so like 2 of my 3 instances.
He was working.
Right?
The next week, I heard the opportunity that you're looking for, you're going to have to create. And I was like, you know, I don't know. That may not be for me. I'm not an opportunity creator. I am a get my check every 2 week person. I am consistency, no surprises. I never had dreams of starting my own business or anything. So this is not for me. But then I started thinking about it. You know, I'm a mom. I have 4 very active sons. I like to think I'm a supportive wife. I don't know. You'll have to.
You're still married, so you're doing good. You're doing good.
I think 12 or 13 years too. Something like that.
Congratulations.
I don't know why she said it like that. I think so. That would have been right at the beginning of your law career.
No, I got married while I was in law school, so longer than that then.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you. But I was just like, when I really look at my life, the opportunities that I want, I am probably going to have to create. So I thought, well, I'm just going to leave law altogether because that's what I had been wrestling with anyway. I was going to the dream job that I wanted was in academia, and I had been teaching throughout my legal career anyway. So it was a perfect transition. And I started thinking, well, what can I do to really help people? Because that's why I went to law school. And in that journey, in my research, I thought, I realized that the greatest transfer of wealth is happening right now. As baby boomers are transitioning, passing away, transferring wealth, the greatest transfer of wealth is happening right now. And if the Black community doesn't do something, we will miss out on all of it. We are set to hit, I think, $0 in like 2050 in terms of Black people as a whole of our net worth. And part of that is because of our
$0.
Look up racial wealth gap, right?
No, I'm fully aware of it, and we're not gonna we're not like it's so far now that we're not gonna catch up.
But one of the primary reasons is because of the lack of estate planning. We're in a very hustle-oriented culture. But what's the point of all this hustling and getting my LLC and all this grinding if we're not if we're not giving the money to people properly. So what are we doing all of this for? Yes, we want to live now and enjoy now, but what difference are we really making to impact our community as a whole if we do all of this and we don't hand it off properly? And that's where a lot of loss is going to occur in our community. So taking all that information in, that's when I decided I'm going to be an estate planning attorney, and I'm going
to make a difference.
Yes, I'm going to make a difference.
Write some wills.
I got it. This is it.
I'm a very sensitive person. You know, I don't know about this. I'm not talking about dying to people all the time and addressing so many issues that we have in the Black community with it. But, you know, I'm going to stick beside it. So we'll see.
That's awesome. So you were teaching as you were developing your next dream.
Yeah, I actually started, my first job out of law school was a professor at a university. Okay. Yeah, so that was my very first job. And about 2 or 3 years into it, I left because I thought, I need to be a real lawyer. Like, you know, I went to law school. I need to be a real lawyer. So I also have a master's degree in the area I was teaching in. So that's how I got into teaching. So I was like, I need to be a lawyer, you know, like, what am I doing here? So I looked for a legal job, and then I got hired as a lawyer. And then a year into that, I was like, that was the dumbest thing. I was like, why did I leave? Young and entertained, and dumbest thing I could ever do.
No.
That's awesome.
So walk me through this. Like, what's the process of getting a will? And because my next question is going to be, what's the process of getting a trust? Because like, I don't know what I don't know, but I just know what I heard. You know what I'm saying? What some people talking about, and like, I know the Asian community is really big with trust, right? And creating their own banks and things like that, because there's all types of trust.
Yeah.
And so I would just imagine that's a more involved process on a general scale, right?
Mm-hmm. So
can I pause this for a second? Because I'm on the dumb side of this.
Okay.
So you ain't done, bro.
When I say
that's my bad for assuming. Like, you know what? I'm asking questions for me, and I should be asking for our audience. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Kev.
but I just want to kind of, because we're throwing some words around, and I think it's easy for them to either get blurred or misunderstood. So we said estate planning, and then we said wills and trust. Is there a difference between estate planning? Is there a difference between a will and a trust? So as people take this information in and they leave, they won't just be running around. Yeah, I heard I need this, but they, you know, we just got them excited, and then they get in front of a professional and got it all wrong. So just
around.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how much time do I have? That lets me know.
I mean,
in depth.
Until I get tired.
Okay.
No, we good. I mean, we're you know what I'm saying? We good.
Okay, so let me put it like this. I'll be using this in a second. Estate planning is a way to protect everyone you love and everything that you love. Okay? In simple puts, estate planning is a way that you protect everyone you love and everything that you love. Because while we are here in this current state, for the most part, we're assets to our environments, right? Our families rely on our presence physically, emotionally, our financial contributions. We're giving in all of those capacities. If we're not here, we need to find a way to continue to provide provide for our family in some of those ways back, so that we're leaving something behind to fill the void for the ways that we would give financially, emotionally, spiritually, all of those things. Okay, so estate planning is how you do that. Estate planning is not just protecting for your family in the event that you pass away. It's also taking care of yourself in the event that you become incapacitated, right? Estate planning is putting on the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then putting it on your wife and your children and your nieces and your nephews. If you were to get into a car accident or something tomorrow, and you are incapacitated. You cannot speak for yourself or to take care of yourself or to articulate your wishes with respect to your health care. Who's the person who's going to do that? If you're married, in most cases, it might be your spouse. If you're not married, it could be a parent. But what if you have a bad relationship with your parent? You would never want your parent to be the one talking to doctors about what to do, right? If you are in some kind of unmarried partnership and something happens to you, the person who you love is going to get locked out of that hospital room. They're going to get locked out of your treatment and your care. And they're not going to be able to know anything unless your parent says so. And I'm talking in general because every state
absolutely
has different laws. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen to husband and wife at the same time. If both of you are in an accident coming back from date night and neither one of you can speak or articulate your wishes, who is the successor agent to make those the treatment for you, right? Because if something happens to you, who has access to your bank accounts to continue to pay your mortgage while you're recovering for 3 months? Is your house going to foreclose? Now, are you going to have to move in with your parents? Now your credit sucks because you didn't create plans for what can happen. You didn't create plans to protect everyone you love and everything that you love, right? So estate planning, that's just one component of it. So one, you're making plans for yourself in the event that you cannot manage your affairs in the way that you ordinarily would due to some kind of medical illness or injury that has left you incapacitated.
Yeah.
In addition to protecting yourself, now we're talking about the transfers of assets and wealth. There are many vehicles used to transfer those assets and wealth, and one of those vehicles is a will. Another one is a trust in general. There are differences between a will and a trust. In fact, I think I posted a graphic on my Instagram about the difference between a will and a trust sometime this week. It was like a chart, but I'm trying to just pull it up.
It was a chart?
Yeah.
I promise you I didn't look at it.
So I'm just putting it up in my mind as a reference point for myself as I talk about it, right? So a will is a document that is used to transfer your assets. A will makes outright distributions, meaning $5,000 to this person, $5,000 to that person. After you give that money to that person, you don't have any more say as to what happens with that money. You've given that money to that person. So one crazy weekend in Vegas, the $5,000 you gave to somebody could be gone. That person could get in a car accident and get sued. The $5,000 you gave them is gone. They could be tricked into some kind of business investment or swindled, or somebody could convince them that they love it. Whatever it is, the money you left them could be gone in an instant, and there are no strings or security attached to that money. The trust, you are putting strings attached to that money. So that's one difference. In a trust, you can manage that money from beyond the grave. With stipulations that you create with respect to that money. So that's one of the differences. Another difference is a will goes through a process called probate, and probate is a public process. Whenever someone passes away, you have to probate.
Does it really?
Yes.
Wills go to probate?
Yes.
I thought the whole purpose of having a will is that it bypasses probate.
That's a trust.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about, because
life insurance bypasses probate as well, right?
It depends.
Sorry. I sell insurance for a living, so that's why, and I don't like focus on life insurance, and so I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm like, I know somewhere in that test it said something about, you know what I mean? Like
So the short answer is it depends, right? Because life insurance is a beneficiary designation. And so if it's a beneficiary designation, it does not have to go through probate. But what happens is a parent might purchase a life insurance policy and they might leave it to their oldest child, right? Because their oldest child is their most responsible child. And they know their oldest child is going to split the money and take care of everybody and do with it what they want. But the reality is, when this person passes away and the oldest child gets that check for $50,000, boo-boo, my name is the only one on this $50,000 check. So I don't know what mom and dad intended, but if they wanted to leave you something, they would have made you a beneficiary on this or got a life insurance policy for you. And then
that's how it be.
Yeah. But this is where legacies get tarnished, right? Yeah. Because if you're child number 2 or 3, you feel some kind of way about this. Even the best intentioned oldest child or most responsible child, if mom and dad don't sit down and tell you what their wishes are, and in many cases they don't have these transparent conversations, it just looks like you left the money to me. What am I supposed to think about this? You left the money to me. I know that if you wanted other people to have money, you would have left them money. I didn't think about the fact that you think this person's a little irresponsible or this person needs more time. I don't know that I'm just a steward. I know that I'm the beneficiary and you left me money. So now mom and dad's legacy is messed up. Kid number 3 need therapy. They don't understand what happened. Kid number 1.
So, okay, so we got the will. We get the will done. Boom, boom, boom. I
got a question though before we move forward. No, wait. Before you move forward though, does the probate, like, because from what I understand too, is like the judge can override the will in a probate.
It depends. You know, let me preface this. All of this is for educational purposes.
Yes.
All of this is not serving as legal advice. You have to consult an attorney in your area with respect to the specific laws in your state, in your county, in your community.
I'm gonna clip that out. That's gonna be the opening clip.
So before I get to that, I'll also say this too. If you have your minor child as a beneficiary, you are also leaving that for probate and for disaster. So that's why I said it depends. In general, life insurance policies are not probated. But if your beneficiary is dead, that money is now in probate. So we're back to the beginning. And then your question was with respect to probate. Can you remind me again?
It's like, because I've heard where
the judge overrules
and then they'll sign what they think is bet or whatever.
So what happens sometimes is during the probate process, all of your taxes, debts, expenses have to be paid before your family can take from your estate. A lot of money is lost in the probate process in general because we have to get the house assessed. We have to pay your taxes for 2 or 3 years because we don't know if you paid what was right. We have to settle with the IRS. We have to get access to your accounts. A lot of people start probate on their own and then they're messing it up and now they have to hire a lawyer, you know? So what happens is sometimes the estate does not have enough money to pay all of these, right? Or this estate has just enough money to pay all these fees and now there's not enough money to give to the so those are instances where you may have a will giving somebody $1,000, but if you don't have if you didn't leave $300,000 to give to this person, then it doesn't matter what you your will, right? So and probate is a public process, right? So whenever you create a will, and I don't mean to talk negatively about wills. Wills are important. And there are certain people who a will is just fine for, considering your circumstances. And it's definitely better than not doing anything at all. A will is very important because a will is where you do your guardianship nominations for your children. Who takes care of your children if something happens to you? All of that is done in your will. So a will is a critical piece of the estate planning. But a will is also public. Right. So you can look up anybody's will. You can look up the former First Lady Jackie Kennedy's will. Right. So your will is very public. And another issue with respect to the will is you're also leaving your family vulnerable to be taken advantage of. There are people who stroll around probate courts reading wills, finding out who was left what to fall in love with them and to swindle them out of the money or to come up with some kind of scheme. I can give you examples.
What?
There are professionals out there. There's scammers in every arena.
I'm not surprised, but like,
I'm surprised.
I just like, you know what? But then again, you know, you watch Wedding Crashers and then where's the best place to pick up women? It's at the funerals. And so I get, you know what I mean? Like,
but you know, and when she said that though, I just think about like, you know, my cousin was an NFL athlete and when you said that, all I seen was just chicks waiting outside like, yeah, I know you got your money, boo. Hey.
Not just chicks, you know. It's gentlemen. it's gentlemen. They prey on widows. I've seen this happen. And it's not just romantic schemes. I've definitely seen that. But for example, there's an elderly woman. Her husband did everything he was supposed to do at will. You know, he left, let's just say he left her $20,000. It was more than that. And he left stuff to the grandchildren. Somebody can look up what was left to who. This person showed up at grandma's door, right? Your grandson was incarcerated and we need to post bail. And his bail is $19,000, right?
Grandma, they know how much she got in her will.
Much she got. They know grandson's name. It's in the will, right? They know where grandson lives. It's part of the probate, right? They know grandson is 18 years old. They probably found grandson on Facebook or whatever. They knew enough to convince her grandson is locked up. Of course, grandma tries to call daughter. Daughter's busy, doesn't answer. Tries to call grandson. Nobody answers. They need this money now. It's a desperate situation, right? So this person drives grandma to the bank to get this money, right? They get by the time, and this sounds far-fetched, but it's not. A lot of times when people are elderly, they either their family doesn't take as good care of them as they should, or they are kind of stubborn and they think more than there's studies that show that when you get older, you tend to become more, look at AARP, you tend to become more firm in your stances, in your beliefs, and you're less likely to be persuaded otherwise. So sometimes they want to maintain that independence. So estate planning also protects you from yourself later on, because you don't know yourself at 75, right? You're not going to be this same wit and intellect and ability. You have no idea who you are at 75. So while you're in sound mind and sound body now, go ahead and protect yourself from you. Anyway, grandmother gives the money. Grandma gives the money to this young man, gone, never to be seen or heard from again. By the time family calls her later that night, grandson was never incarcerated, never locked up. There. And her money that her husband left her is gone.
And, you know, somebody told me a long time ago, it's regarding wills and trusts and things like, or estate plan in general. It's just like, yo, like if you don't have a plan for your money, the state does.
I say that too. I say that too.
And I'm just like,
plan doesn't mean there's no plan.
No, the state got one for you. So we get the will. I'm not moving on too far. We get the will. We get it written. Then what do we do with it?
Okay. Different states have different laws. Some states, they have to be signed, witnessed, and notarized. Some say, you file it with the court, you keep it in a safe place, but you don't need it again until you have passed away.
Cool. But I guess what I was saying was more leaning towards was like, do I tell people? Like, do I be like, yo, like, hey, I got a will?
You tell people who you trust where it is, right? So that they can access it. It's usually like a fireproof box, that fireproof case with the lock in it.
Well, no, I mean, I just didn't know if like you just put it away and then you get the situation where there's like, oh, there's two wills and da 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 da.
You don't need to. You just need yours, your original.
That makes sense.
Put it in a safe. And most court houses let you file your will there.
Now,
you take a copy of it and leave it in your nightstand, but the wet signature you put in the safe place.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
Can we get to trust?
Yeah. So,
but here's my thing. I don't know if you know the answer, but when I heard this, when I found out like what trusts like really were, I was like 30, right? And I was so, for lack of a better word, I was pissed because especially in our community, we look down on trust fund babies, quote unquote. And I'm like, why? Like that just means that their family was planning. You know what I'm saying? Like the big homie, his daughters, he puts houses into them in the trust name. And so even if little mama get married and she get divorced, the trust is staying in the house is in the trust name. It can't go nowhere. Yeah. And it's just like, ooh.
And I could tell you because we didn't like them trust fund babies.
Exactly. But I'm like why do trust fund babies, and I know you probably don't know this, but why do they get such a bad rap, right?
Because it's associated with entitlement and wealth. And when you don't have wealth, you don't feel entitled. And so you tend to create a negative imagery of something that you don't have to make yourself feel better.
And for the most part, I can speak for my generation, or at least for myself. Like, you think they did? because they didn't work for it, right? Like, so when we were growing up, it's like, man, we grind, we learn hard work, and our parents are teaching us because of our color, we have to work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And then I go to school, and Johnny don't ever have to work for anything, and he's driving a Mercedes Benz at 15 years old. I'm like, bro, how do you get a Mercedes Benz at 15 years old? Like, how does that happen? You know,
which is so stupid because, like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you finish though, Kev. But like, even Trump, like him, whatever, it's irrelevant. His dad gave him $1 million loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He turned it into something more. Bruh, if I gave Jamal $1 million, huh?
I said I would just adjusting something.
I'm like, if you gave somebody from the hood $1 million, like, why are you mad because their family left them money? And is it entitlement? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I guess it depends on how they respond or how they react or how they act. But it's just like, you don't just get money and make money, bro. Like, it's a whole bunch. Why do you think all the lottery winners are broke or drug addicts?
Yeah.
Like,
but I think, and going back to what we were saying, though, I think it was just, what I was getting to was just the lack of education on my part, right? I didn't understand what the trust and how the money flowed, or like, once I really got into the circles and really got to understand, it was like, oh yeah, yes, this makes sense.
Let me get one of them.
How do I get in? So I can eat some more lobster, and we could go on these boat rides, and we could go on these trips, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing about it, is that a lot of times we angry and mad at things that we don't understand, and then when we get to understand them, sometimes we're so far behind the curve that it's hard to catch up. And I think that, to me, that answers the question that you asked. Why are we so upset or feel like that they're privileged? Because we didn't know, we didn't understand. And now that we know and we do understand, like you were saying, like, man, when I learned you could put houses in trust that'll protect the house and to protect, and I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I heard it and I wanted to, and I looked more into it and to validate it. But those things we didn't get exposure to until we get a Savaun who has the passion and the heart and realized her main passion and dream to teach us and educate us on what these trusts can do for us. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I don't know where to start, but I will say that people have a misconception also that trusts are for like the uber wealthy. And so if we, in general, people already have a disdain for the uber wealthy because there is a narrative that they didn't earn their wealth. And that may or may not be true. Depends on who the uber wealthy person is, right? So they have an advantage that foundational Black Americans may not necessarily have because they were the wealth builders, but they didn't get the benefit of the wealth.
You choosing your words real carefully. I like this. And you're not even thinking about it. It just,
hey, that's what happened with them years of legal education,
right?
Right. So I say that to say that a lot of Black Americans or Black people in general, we don't have trust. We don't even think that a trust is something within our reach because of that misperception that it's just for like this top 1%. But really it's a tool that any American can utilize, that would benefit them. And I'm talking specifically about living revocable trusts. So a trust is just to try to say it as simply as possible. A trust is like a contractual arrangement. And it's a contractual arrangement to hold your assets. So it's holding my assets. And the person who creates the trust is called the grantor, right? I'm granting my assets. I'm creating this. So it's an arrangement, a fiduciary arrangement created by the grantor, which is me. I'm creating this arrangement for the benefit of the beneficiaries, the people who are going to receive the assets. But while I'm alive, I am also the beneficiary. So I am the grantor creating this arrangement for my benefit while I'm alive. And it's managed by the trustee, which is the person who oversees how the money is spent or assets are distributed. And while I'm alive, I'm also the trustee. I serve in all three roles.
Oh.
So I am the grantor. I created the trust for the benefit of the beneficiaries. I'm alive. I'm the beneficiary. And it's managed by the trustee, and I'm the trustee. So I serve in all three roles while I'm alive. And when I pass on, I have named beneficiaries and trustees. So depending on my children's age, if there's a minor, I have a third-party trustee who's managing the assets in the trust for the benefit of the beneficiaries, which would be my children. That's just one example. So while I'm alive, I have a trust. So this is my box that I said I was going to use, right? So what happens when you don't have a trust? We are all carrying around all of our assets, mostly in here. We got our bank account, we got our cryptocurrency, we got, our account with our spouse, we got this account with our parents created for us when we were 12. We got this other little account that got $25. I don't even remember what the account number is for that account. I got credit cards that I owe, payments, I got a car note, I got a mortgage. We're just carrying around like all of these things. I mean, if you're really organized, it's written down somewhere, but for most people, it's not. You're carrying around all these assets, everything that you're kind of worth. And if you die, it spills everywhere, right? And the family is scrambling. I think Dad had a Discover card. Did he have a Discover card? Is there a statement here? I don't know. Paperless. What's his email password? He had a bank account here. They had a bank account here. Didn't he say he had some savings bonds that his mom left? Right. I don't know. All this. He has a digital wallet. Is it a physical digital wallet? Is it a digital wallet with a password? I don't know. Where is Dad's money? Okay.
I'm stressed out, and this ain't even my situation. So
it's all of our situations, though.
Yeah.
So our assets go everywhere. Our family is trying to scramble to resolve and settle all this stuff in probate because we didn't make it easy for them, right? So now they're mourning and they're stressed out, right? No wonder the widow or widower falls in love quickly after that. They stressed out, okay?
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And the state has a Department of Unclaimed Assets or Unclaimed Property. A lot of this money goes there sometimes. A check might come in, some other account goes there. And if you don't side note, Bar, it is a beating to claim your unclaimed property. Like it is I get emails all the time from the state, like, oh, you need to claim. I'm not claiming that $20 deposit from Verizon from 2006. You want me to send my social security card? The original? They usually don't tell you how much it is until you go through the process, because I definitely helped someone get $600 in January. They thought it was a scam. And I helped somebody else recover like $1,600 a couple months ago. I'm like, you don't know exactly how much it is.
Where at though? Was that in North Carolina?
No, one person was in Florida. One person was in North Carolina. Every state has this.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well, Texas, they disclose it, all of them online.
Oh, okay.
I can look up all your stuff in Texas if you had any.
Okay. Well, I don't know, but also look in every state that you've lived in, because every state has different rules. So if you've lived in any other state, if you had a relative who passed away in another state.
I'm about to Google let me go all 50 states real quick. I might come up on a little lick real quick. Sorry, I know you were still going in. How much is it going to cost me? Because I want to get that question out, because I don't remember. Now I'm not just talking about you. We could do generalization. I don't do words.
I didn't finish how the trust works, so I'll do that, and then you can.
Oh, sorry.
Or whatever. Okay. So like I was saying, your assets spill everywhere. But when you have a trust, it's like you're carrying your assets in a wagon, in a box, in a bag, whatever, right? While you are alive, you transfer everything into the name of a trust. So your house, you retitle it into the trust, right? All of your accounts, you retitle it into the name of the trust. Your life insurance policies, your trust is now the beneficiary of your life insurance policy, right? Your retirement plan or savings, your trust is now the beneficiary of your retirement plan or savings. Any stock accounts or anything like that, your trust is now the beneficiary. Your
This
trust.
is an actual box you use all the time. I just realized all those letters. All those letters.
You
match.
just caught on to it. I caught on when she said
I'm so
accounts.
slow.
I was like, oh, I got it. Anyway.
So now all of your assets are held nice and neat in this trust. And because I am the grantor and the trustee, I can take assets in and out if I want to. If I'm selling my house, whatever, it's not locked away. I am the trustee. So I am managing the assets. So I can continue to put assets in and out as I want, however I want to. Now, if something happens to me, I am giving this to my children instead of everything all over the place. So when I say that people think a trust is a tool for the uber wealthy, right? You may not have $500,000 to leave to your heirs right now, but you might have a $500,000 policy. Your house might be worth $500,000. So now you have a trust fund with $500,000 in it. You may not be walking around with that, but now you have made your child a trust fund baby because you are now handing them $500,000 and you've put strings to protect that money that you've handed to your children so that they don't all go blow it away on foolishness. And now you are creating generational wealth.
Look at God.
So you have to have $500,000 to start a trust?
It could be $100,000. It could be $50,000. It could be whatever you have to leave. My point is that you have made your transfer of wealth easier, less stressful, and more secure so that your beneficiaries are more likely to enjoy and to utilize what you've left for them, to start a business, to go to school, whatever the case may be. They're not all stressed out for 2 years in probate court trying to tie up their loose ends.
Yeah.
That's real
good.
Trust is private. Trust does not go through probate once everything is transferred properly. When somebody dies, you go to your attorney's office and you do everything right then and there.
Okay.
Does that mean we got to keep an attorney on like retainer, or we just pay him and they just keep it? Or?
The attorney you use to create your trust, you have a copy of that, and you can. Once it's done, it's done. You can go to any estate planning attorney to administer the estate, but it's a private process. Nobody's gonna go Google your unless you upload your trust.
Hey y'all, look at my
So what I'm hearing too is that we gotta get your will done and then get your trust set up and start transferring your wealth into your trust. Yes. Now, I got a quick question.
You can skip over my question. I wonder how much it costs.
Well, we're getting there. We're getting there. Let that be the end. Because this is good. When I put the stuff in the trust, does that protect? Does the trust protect it from us? So, because from what I mean, so when we're talking about the will, we talk about taxes, we talk about all of the stuff that we get ourselves into, the dirt that we get ourselves into that has to come up once we die. Does the trust protect in such a way where taxes and stuff, like I'm sure it still has to be paid if it's within the trust, but if I did something in my legal name, does that protect the trust? Does that make sense?
Okay, so you're asking, does the trust offer asset protection?
Oh,
yes.
Okay, and the answer to that is it depends, right?
Okay.
For most people living in revocable trusts, I feel comfortable saying all people. No, the answer is no, right? The tax exemption right now is somewhere like $6 million per person before you have to pay estate taxes when somebody passes away. So unless your estate is worth more than $6 million or like $11, $12 million as a couple, then that's when you're looking at living revocable trusts, when you're looking at trusts that are not revocable. Okay. That's when you're looking at those trusts, and those trusts are used by people who are more wealthy to manage their money creatively. For most people, that is not something that you need. When you are alive and you're under the $6 million tax exemption limit, then a living revocable trust serves you just fine. Now, when you pass away, it becomes unrevocable. You can't make changes to it. And you can, because of that, you can create asset protection for your beneficiaries. Okay.
That's good.
So you can create your trust in such a way that you are protecting your children against future claims from creditors, against divorce, against lawsuits, because this is not their money. This is the trust money, right? So if something happens and they get sued or they get into some kind of accident or they have some creditors, this is not my money. This is trust.
So it can't be protected from
or your beneficiary.
For the beneficiary.
Well, for you it can't because you owned it, right?
Yeah.
I put it in and I put it out and I can take it in and out. So a creditor is going to be like, "We'll take it out."
Get your money.
Your children, once you pass away, it goes like this, right? They can make distributions however you created it, but these were never their assets. I cannot give away somebody else's money, right? And it's depending on how you set it up. Some people don't choose that asset.
That's good.
That's real good.
So it kind of varies.
I don't think for our day one listeners, I don't think Kev and I have ever been so quiet in an episode. I'm gonna just keep it 100. It's like we both in here just like, okay. And
look, I've been taking notes.
YouTube, I'm over here. Everybody watching on YouTube, Kev's head is down. Kev is not on his phone. Kev takes notes. I take mental notes. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But Kev is down there. Kev is writing because Kev will do the recap.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Can we answer my question now?
Okay. What's your question?
How much it costs?
It varies. Honestly, it varies. So trust, I think you can gauge 2,500 to 4,000. It depends on some people maybe 6,000, some people maybe 8,000. It really depends on the lawyer. It depends where you're at. But I feel confident in saying somewhere between 2,000 and 6,000 because once you create your trust, you also have options to create sub-trusts for your children, right? You also putting stipulations that maybe they can only give that money through their bloodline. You may be putting a stipulation that your spouse can only continue to access the trust if they have a prenuptial agreement. I mean, you could put whatever you want in there.
Yes, that.
Sometimes,
make sure of that.
Right. So sometimes the honest answer is it depends because it depends on how you design your trust. So I feel confident in saying you may pay somewhere between $2,000 and $6,000, depending on all the options and selections that you put. And for a will, maybe somewhere between 800 to 2,000. And when I say will for myself, I don't do just a will. Right. I'm doing all the healthcare documents I talked about. I'm doing like a guardianship package. That's like 11 documents. So because my job is to do comprehensive estate planning. I'm not here to piecemeal anything that's going to have your family in court and conflict crying later. I want to make sure that whatever I do with you is complete and it's thorough and it protects you.
With that being said, what are like the basics that somebody should? Because I think that's important. If you hear me talk anything about the students that I work with, I think wraparound services is everything, right? We can't just come in and have a mentor and he hungry at home or has some situations at home. And so that's what I heard when you said, like, I'm just not gonna give you a will. I'm gonna wrap around you like what you need. What are because I know our listeners are listening like, man, I got all this information. Let's go. But you're saying just don't do the will. What are some basic things that they should be looking for if they step out to go get their will done?
Okay. So I
know, and we know, don't give them all the nuggets. They gonna have to come to you to get it. But what are just some basics?
No, I'm thinking that you're asking at a minimum, what kind of estate planning does somebody need? And the answer to that is it depends. Again,
I'm shutting it down. Where's the end button at?
The answer to that is it depends because somebody's estate versus another person's estate, I'd be doing a disservice by saying you only need a will.
Yeah.
But okay, for a youth, right? For somebody who's in their youth, who probably doesn't have children, who is, somewhere between 18 to 30, let's just say, and they're unmarried. Okay, so the first thing you definitely need is a power of attorney. Right? This gives someone the authority and ability to access your accounts in case something happens. You're a young professional and you're working in the same scenario I gave before. If something happens to you and you are incapacitated, who can pay your rent till you get better? You don't want to lose your apartment. and then now you got to move back in with mom and dad.
Yeah.
So you definitely need that. And also durable power of attorney gives someone the authority to sue somebody on your behalf. If there's an accident and a lawsuit needs to be started, if somebody is suing you, you need somebody to have the authority to defend you. Durable power of attorney is far reaching. If you're in school and you need to drop your classes or something like that, the university is going to be like, okay, Trevor's mom, I need some paperwork. Like, I just can't tell you Trevor's grades just because you said you're his mom. Like, I need some paperwork that says you have the authority to manage his affairs on his behalf. So
that's real good. Can I interject, because I know you're giving just some thoughts off top of your head, and I'm just thinking, look, we're dads on purpose. We got dads, we got moms listening, and I'm just thinking real quick, because okay, I got the will for myself, but what am I doing for my kid within my will? So is there any quick nuggets even for that instance? Like, they're like, man, I do need a will for my life. How does that will protect my kid? What do they need? Because I'm just thinking ahead. That's why I wanted to jump in. But just, is there anything parents can do too in their will to get them started in the right path as they look into this for their family?
Yes. So put a pin in that. But the answer is yes. Because just so that I completely answer everything that you were saying, for at a minimum, you need a durable power of attorney, you need a healthcare power of attorney, you need a HIPAA release. Well, why do I want to give somebody access to my medical records? Again, if your family suspects some type of medical malpractice, they want your medical records. And if you ever try to get somebody's medical records that's not yours, that's not going to happen. Nope. Right. So precious time could be wasted when you want to get a second opinion, when you want to get some kind of legal evaluation done on a person and you need those records. Right. And so durable power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney, sometimes your advanced healthcare directive, which might be called your living will. That just depends on a person and what they would like to have. And also now your will. Now, to answer your question, your will for a parent definitely needs to have your guardianship nomination. What guardianship nomination is? Who's going to take care of your children when you pass away? I do a whole guardianship package that comes standard with my wills. And like I mentioned before, it's like 11 documents because it's very thorough. Okay. Who do I want to take care of my kids? Who do I not want to take care of my kids?
That's good.
Because on paper, my brother or sister may look amazing, but I know that there's a domestic violence situation. I know that this is someone I would never want my children to live with. I don't care under any circumstances. And I don't want this person trying to fight my mom or dad or whoever for custody of my kids later. So who do I want to take care of my children? Oh, I want my sister to take care of my children. But do I want my sister to take care of my children if my sister, I want my sister and her husband to take care of my children, right? But if something happens to my sister, do I want just her husband to still take care of my children? Or do I want it to go to my next person, right? It depends. Maybe I have a great relationship with him. I don't care. Maybe I'm like, oh no, absolutely not. We need to move on to my second person, or second couple. Same thing. If that couple divorces or one of them passes away, do I still want those people to take care of my children? So also in my guardianship bundle, I do power of attorney and medical power of attorney for your child. Because if you're away on vacation somewhere looking cute and stunning for the gram, and then your child falls down and breaks a finger, you want grandma or grandpa to be able to take your child to the hospital and get the appropriate services without any issues. And in most instances, they probably will. But why create an opportunity where they're stressed? You got to come back right away. They have the document. They have the medical power of attorney to get the care that your child needs. No additional stress. No trying to fax paperwork to the resort. All of that. Also, wishes. What are your priorities? How do you want money spent? What values do you want taught to your children regarding religion, regarding culture? All of these things are part of my guardianship.
I could leave all of that?
Yeah, I have a document. We write it. We're going to write it all down.
Wow.
What
Bro, I thought I was doing something. I ain't done none of this.
Listen, I've been walking around here like my mama go take good care of Kendall.
Well, look, we out here butt naked, bro.
Butt naked.
I also have a babysitter instruction sheet because if you're on a date and you don't come back when you said you were because an explosion happened at the restaurant or whatever, right? Your babysitter's gonna call 911. And if your babysitter calls 911, the police are gonna take your children into state custody into foster care. Right?
What?
If they cannot find out where your parents are.
No, I get it, but it didn't click.
Yeah. Now I'm talking in general, right?
Yeah.
The babysitter, they're not going to leave your kids with the 17-year-old babysitter for an indefinite period of time. No. So now you have double traumatized your children. Mom and dad didn't come home, and now I'm in a state facility until they figure this out, until they can contact grandma and verify that she's grandma, and grandma like, I don't know where a birth certificate is, you know, there's a picture of us together somewhere.
I was there when they were born.
You know, grandma, well, we need a judge to make the determination that you're grandma, and that's going to take until next week Thursday till we can get
wow. And so your kids are stuck in the state until it's verified.
Right. So my babysitter contact sheet says, if you can't reach me, please call this person first. If this person is not available, please call this person. This person is not available, please call this person. If none of these people are available, please call my lawyer. Do not call 911 until you have contacted one of these people and my children are in their care, because I've also created a letter for that person that says you are appointed as a guardian. I want you to be my guardian in the event something happens to me. And they will have a copy of that letter that's been signed and notarized already. So when law enforcement does show up to find out why mom and dad are not home yet, I have a document that says, oh, I'm allowed to take my nieces. This is from the parents. This has been signed and notarized. We have avoided adding additional trauma and stress to your children while we, pull mom and dad out of the rubble.
Savaun, hey, you got me feeling like a horrible parent.
First of all,
like I feel
Savaun. You didn't say call her the wrong name this whole episode.
I'm sorry.
I said nothing.
Hey,
it's okay.
I already said at the beginning, but no, I really feel like a bad parent. And it's not even to say like, these are the things that, again, this is education and things that we did not know.
Yeah.
But even thinking in our hearts, like, man, I got this in my mind. I got this planned out. I know if something happens, this should be able to happen. But even in this day and age, in this world, like, it's so important. What I've just realized, even just with your last statements, was that even though we're living this natural life, there's still some legal things that we need to do that we haven't been doing as a whole, as a community. Like, I'm just thinking as a whole community and building families. Like, to me, this is something this should be like the basis at marriage. Like, hey, what are we thinking about how we go do this thing that we call life and how we're going to share our wealth amongst our family? Like, I'm just like, man, I did a horrible job. I was just like, yo, I like you, girl. Let's get married. She was like, okay. Now I'm like, dang, I gotta go backtrack and we gotta write some of this stuff down.
Yeah, no, the reality is we are all adulting. We're all parents. Some of us are in relationships. Some of us are employees and business owners and sidepreneurs. So this navigating life is complex and exhausting enough as it is.
Yeah.
So talking about what we're going to do when I die is not a priority for a lot of people. And I understand that. And also there's an information gap, like you said, with respect to that. So now that we have the knowledge, we do have a responsibility to do something because, again, what's the point of everything that we're doing right now if we're going to leave our children in the care of the system, for 1 week or 2 months? You would never want something like that to happen to your children, to your family, to your spouse. So it's very important now that we know, at a minimum, to get started. You can always update or change your estate plan later. Yeah. So We do have a responsibility. So that's why I said estate planning is protecting everyone you love and everything you love.
Well, we appreciate you so much. We're going to shut it down because you know what? Any more information, look, this is a free podcast. They got to pay for that. Y'all hit Savaun up. You know what I'm saying? Savaun, tell them where can they find you at?
Sure. So my firm is Ezer Legal Solutions. That's EZER Legal, LEGAL.com. That's my website. I have an email list that hopefully I get going at some point, but you can sign up for it. I'm also on Instagram at Ezer Legal, and my personal Instagram. I had another one that got, anyway, I already want to talk about it. Instagram did away with it. So I always get confused when I think about my new one, but my new one is The Savvy Mommy. So you can find me on there, and I sprinkle in estate planning content with just food, homemaker stuff, because I recognize that it's kind of a heavy topic. So I don't want to be beating you over the head, everything like, what you gonna do when you die? No.
Dude, I think I need to see that question at least once every week.
Yeah, because the reality is all I gotta do is stay black and die, and I'm going to die. It's going to happen. We're all going to do it. And saying that isn't going to make it happen quicker. So we need to get over that. Like saying that doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. No. And even if it does happen tomorrow, then you definitely have an obligation to,
absolutely.
to plan for it, to make appropriate plans for it. But talking about it, planning for it is not, in our community, I don't know why, it's not going to make it any quicker. Your appointed time is your appointed time. So make sure you plan for it. And one thing I've learned is estate planning really makes you appreciate life so much. It really makes you so intentional about what you do and the relationships you cultivate. If you don't have 3 people that you want to leave your children with, then it lets you know, I need to get out there. I need to meet some people. I need to expand my circles, because yes, anybody you pick is going to suck. They're not you, right? But if you can't point to 3 options, it helps you to let you know.
We got to have 3 because we got 2. We know we got 2.
I say 3. 2 is good. 2 is good. But I say 3 because you just never know. You just never know. You just never know. So it's
because one of them might decide to be holding around and don't be with their family. My kid can't stay with them. That's not in my will. I don't need that.
And that might happen. And again, people who you know now may not be the same person in 5 years. May not be the same person in 10 years. They might agree to it now, and in 10 years, they might have, a terminal illness, and taking on your children is not something that they could navigate.
That's good.
Well, thank you for bursting my bubble and making me reevaluate my circle. Is there anything you want to leave everybody with? Like, but you didn't, you probably even shouldn't even, you need to invoice some people. Like, I'm gonna put an invoice in the description for folks, because they need to cut you something. Send you a cash app.
What I would like to leave people with is to have these conversations with your partners and with your parents, with your grandparents, with your aunts and uncles. Don't avoid these conversations. Tell your grandmother, no, you're not plotting to do anything against her. But not doing anything is going to cost us time, energy, and money. And it might shatter the legacy that you have left behind. You've worked so hard to bring your family together. The last thing you want is your children fighting over stuff. And I've seen it time and time again. Just heartbreaking family bickering, rifts and divisions in families that can never be repaired because somebody passed away and didn't take a little bit of time to create an estate plan.
KB, what you got, man?
Man, it's a lot that was said, but what resonated with me that I really want people to grasp: get your life together. Like, pay your bills, find your taxes, because that's what, to me, that's really important, right? So even if you go and set up this process and you get this stuff taken care of, but your life is still trash, the trash is gonna come and take everything away from your kids. Like, and that's the unfortunate thing that I feel like. We feel like, okay, we got these tools, we're going to implement these tools, we're going to get these tools together, but we're not tying up the loose ends in the back. So if we do pass away, like, it's going to get eaten up with all of the stuff that we have to pay. And so I think that's unfortunate, because we're showing our kids we're trying to do right for them, just to show at the end that we didn't do what we needed to do. So take care of your personal things in the background. I know it's tough. I know it's hard to look at and go through, but start working on that stuff now. Mm-hmm. And then part 2 is, it's good. If you got a house, get that trust started. Like, and to me, the wealth is what we have currently that we can pass on to our kids. So even if that house is ranky danky, get your back end stuff together, put that thing in a trust, so it could be in the family, so at least you know your kids have somewhere they can stay. And I know that's one of the biggest things in my family. Like, my mom and my dad has entangled the house to where we can't do nothing with it, so that we can always have somewhere to stay. And so I think those are 2 things that I just think that are really important. Like, get your personal life together, your finances, your taxes, get that stuff together so it doesn't hurt your family in the back end. And then if whatever you have, go ahead. It's not too late to start the trust. You are a millionaire to your kids and to your family. So just go ahead and start it with where you are, so we can start generating this wealth and passing it down properly.
Yeah.
Properly.
Real quick, Savaun, before I just need a yes or a no. I don't need no depends. I don't need elaboration. The 2 to 6 grand for the trust, does that also include all the other documents you were talking about that you typically would do with the comprehensive, with the wills, with the health, with the HIPAA and all that stuff?
For me, yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I needed.
For me,
hey, y'all know where to reach her, man. This has been absolutely amazing. Like, my mind is blown. I'm about to go talk to her. She's asleep, but I'm gonna go wake her up and be like, hey, we need to talk about death.
Hey, baby, wake up. Let's talk about death.
hey, let's talk about some death.
Make it a priority. That is really what I would say. Make it a priority. I could tell you story after story, like you said, a house. Somebody passed away. No one had the will or the documents to say that they could manage the house. The house got foreclosed on, and now the wealth that this person's children could have had, minor children, money could have been used to raise their children to 18, is gone. These are examples of how our wealth, and this was not a wealthy person. Their house probably was their only asset. And now it's gone forever. Their children will never have the benefit of that money. The sister who's raising these children is struggling now and could have really used that money, because now they have 3 more children that they didn't have before. Mm-hmm. So I encourage you to make estate planning a priority.
Yes, please.
Make it a priority. Do the work, y'all. Do the work. And also do the work on liking this podcast, subscribing to this podcast, sharing this podcast. What we say, Kev? We said last episode, share with 3,000 people. Share, you know what? Find 3,000 people. Share with all of them, because we're trying to run the numbers up. But until next week, take care. God bless. We love you. We out of here.